is of the first importance. The test, by the way, of the front runner is always the same test. That test is the word moderation. That is the only test to which a Democratic candidate, senator, governor, politician or aspirant may ever be subjected by the press. Is he or is he not a moderate? You can see the same language, I'm sure you will hear it, in a different way in the everyday practice of Washington. Why should it be that the word partisan is an automatic pejorative in Washington discussion? Have you noticed that the word partisan is always an insult and the word bipartisan is always a compliment? If these words as used meant what they normally mean, what the consensus would be saying would be the following: if it goes on like this, partisanship, we'll end up with a two-party system. Now, I don't believe this is what they mean to say, but this is the journalism that they actually commit. Always look, in other words, to the language. Always look at what's staring you in the face. Always look at the obvious. In any other discourse, of course, the same people would say that it was the proudest boast of the United States that it was the most politically pluralist country in the world, but its discourse gives away the secret. The secret is bipartisanship is to be feared because it would mean two parties. And the secret is that there is one party, that it's a Beltway party, a Washington party, a permanent party, the party of those in power, and most of those in the leadership of the Washington equipe of the press are members of it, and proud of it, and lucky, and afraid of the possibility of falling out of favor. Jim Noricus, who was a very brilliant press critic in New York and who was one of the editors of a very good magazine called Extra, once did a survey of the coverage of the last, I think, 10 Democratic conventions. In the last 10 Democratic conventions, the unanimous verdict of the press was this time at last, the Democrats had got the point and moved to the center from their previously very left position. This invigilation began, I think, in 1948. By now, according to this account, ceaseless moving to the center and the right, the Democrats should have well left Barry Goldwater in the rear. As a matter of fact, they have already done that, since Barry Goldwater has said that he thinks that the ban on homosexuals in the armed forces should have been lifted a long time ago, and is thus, on that issue, more radical than President Clinton. But that's to do with the science of unpredictability, which is not my subject today, though I could come back to it. Anyway, the test is always moderation. The test is always, how shall we call it, acclimatization to the consensus.